Okay mates, I'm BloodThirstyLord, but you can call me Lordy, and today we're doing a Deadlock Heroes tier list right now in the current state of the game. Obviously playtesting. I'm very interested in how this is going to turn out. Give my opinions about certain things. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Obviously I have limited time on the game already, and we haven't versed all the characters or played all the characters yet, but I think it's kind of available to see what insights I can provide with my set time, and what characters are actually strong to verse, especially right now, because things will change through each playtest, and most likely in the future. So we'll see how it goes. The first character is this character right over here. Straight away, A rank. This character is so tanky. He has so many benefits. He has great sustain, great engages, and sometimes he just doesn't die. So maybe he's bounced between an S or A. It's just very versatile. Very good character to pick and play and enjoy, especially if you can understand his kit and understand the builds in the game. And that will favor him quite a lot. Right now he's running a melee build, more than anything, because the melee damage in the game can be kind of crazy with these type of characters, and they can deny CC quite easily from enemies, so they can't collect any souls. So good position for this type of character, I believe. Then alongside that, we have Bebop. This guy, he's also like S or A. S or A. I don't know who to put an S yet. I have no clue, but this guy's like S and A. It just depends. S or A. It's just one of those situations. He has so much burst damage where his spirit damage is so crazy off his knockout combo. So he hooks you in, he uppercuts you, and places a bomb on you at the same time. He can also point you towards his own turret, so you take damage from the Guardian at the same instance, and you're pretty much dead. There's no chance. In the early lane phase, he's very dominant. In mid game to late game, it all comes down to how he engages, how he hooks, and takes away enemies. He's pretty much your picker. He can't really full engage, but that's how his kit works. And I believe people are using Echo Shard, which is a refresh on all the abilities to get that combo off again instantaneously. So you can kill 1 or 2 targets, especially if they don't build any spirit resist. So a very strong character. So I'm going to leave it here for now. Actually, maybe the top of A. I'm going to put top of A. I think that's the case. Yeah, definitely top of A. Yeah, whoever's going to be an S is going to be kind of interesting. Now, Dynamo. Oh, this guy's good. This guy's very good. I'm going to put him towards this side. Actually, maybe S. Yeah, I'm going to put him in S. So with Dynamo, he has the capability to actually engage in fights and use the ultimate, which pulls all enemies towards him. And that is very nice. I'll put them in like a little stasis, where they can get shot up still by your team members and they get instantly deleted. It is such a great turn of events for this character's kit. It works in other games I've played in the past. Any type of air effect that's able to just stun players in a circular around the main character is perfect. Obviously can't use his abilities while he's in that state, because he's doing this singularity move, pulling everyone towards the center or keeping them in place. And alongside that, he has certain things which give him super high damage. As we're testing one of the builds on the channel, you can check out our videos on Deadlock. We have uploaded pretty much every character gameplay and going through live streams on this game daily. With this character's kit, he has a addition where he's able to teleport with one of his abilities, the Kinetic Pulse, which gives him increased fire rate. So if you get a fire rate build with this character and also have some good weapon damage with his first ability and his second ability, he starts to shred enemies like no tomorrow. So instead of being a tank support, he ends up feeling like an aggressive tank with high damage. It's absolutely so much fun, and I think he deserves that S rank. And I feel like tanks, there's a bit of a meta at the current time. I think tanks really survive quite a lot in this game. And that's good and bad. Obviously fits the role, but depends on how much they snowballed early on. Now this character, 100% B. I don't think it's that strong. From what I've seen, it seems to be Nuisance, and I believe there's spirit damage builds for the character to do burst damage and get permanent spirit damage increase overall with the ultimate. But I don't think it's that crazy. Like early game, a lot of pressure, very useful. Mid game to late game really depends on what he did early game, or what he or she did early game. That's the most important part. So that's something to keep in mind. Alright character. Not the best. Furnace, very, very good. Maybe here? Yeah, I'm going to put him there. The reason why, he's got good mobility, good damage output through his ultimate, and just constant damage is unbelievable through his burn. So he's got constant pressure throughout the whole game. He feels good early game, mid game, and late game. And if you get the right items on this guy, he just shreds. So very good character in my opinion. Now, let's see who else. Let's see. Now, okay, Viscous. It's like, is it D or is it S tier? You have to really think about this character's kit. And I find it to be such an interesting character. And I want it to be my main. I really want to main it and give it an ST rank, but I think it would be biased. I'm going to say it's over here, B rank. The reason why, it still has melee damage build, and one of his abilities is a fist that knocks up enemies. That still counts as a melee damage output. So you can run a melee build with this character, alongside increasing his acid goo that he throws out, and do some damage with that as well. So you can imbue it to do more spirit damage. And you can have an interesting kit where you do a bit of spirit, a bit of melee damage, and then you have constant spirit resist and armor. So you're a bit of tanky, you got all this utility, you can help yourself, help your team, save members of your team, because the cube is quite interesting. You can use the cube on yourself to save yourself, or use the cube on someone else on your team to keep them alive. And I think that's very useful, just having that versatility in his kit. Viscous might be a very strong character, but we don't know yet. It's like, it could be like this for new player. For experienced player, it might be like this. But I'm going to believe him here. That might be biased. It could be here. Maybe B. I'm gonna put it in B. I want to put an A, but I want to leave it on B. Obviously, these are my opinions and how I see the game and how it plays. That's something to keep in mind. 7. 7, S tier. Absolute S tier. His lockdown is amazing because once you get close enough, you get a guaranteed lockdown. And no one people are building cleanse items at the moment, which is like an active component where you cleanse a lockdown from occurring before it happens. So 7's lockdown is guaranteed. Then he gets high damage output because he's like a ranger. And his ultimate just shreds in fights. Like if you have a Dynamo and a 7 at the same time, Dynamo freezes them, and then 7 goes in with his ultimate, they have no time to escape. They're going to take the full damage output, and if they can try and escape, they're very weak, and you just finish off the target. So that is why I think 7 is very strong. And his kits just work out really nicely for spirit damage builds. Now, let's move on to Shiv. So, this character, I believe, has been nerfed like a million times. From what I've seen other people complain about, he's been nerfed at least 4 or 5 times already. And people are still asking for more nerfs. Because the character's damage is insane if they snowball correctly. If they don't snowball and they're weak early game, they will be 100% weak late game. But if they snowballed early correctly, they'll be very, very strong late game and they become a powerhouse. They can literally do 1v6 if they're very smart with this character. That's how strong it is. And especially with his execute threshold, which is around 20%, I believe, or 22, around that portion there, he can kill targets when they only have 1/5 HP remaining. Then if you max out that ability on his ultimate, he's able to then go and get a kill reset on that ultimate. So he resets his cooldowns and uses it again. And there's other abilities in the game, like Echo Shine and such, that you can use to advantage and go absolutely crazy. So I think this character, obviously we had a bit of a shake with him at the very start when we started to learn the game, but I think I'm going to revisit him and try and main this character as well. Like, I want to pick like 3 or 5 characters. Shiv might be one of them because that damage output is insane. And it's very consistent if you get good at it. That's for sure. Alongside that, this mole rat, I gave it a test yesterday and I've been versing it. I think it's A rank. I think it might be here. Actually, maybe here. That lockdown that you get from his ultimate is insanely good. You keep a person in position. You have borrowed damage, so you'll be able to go underneath the ground, not get targeted at all. Then bounce out and do more damage. Then the builds for this character just feel like it works. You can do Torment Pulse, which does area effect damage. As you're stunning a target, they're taking the pulse damage of that spirit damage as well. It just seems really great. Great engages, great kit. He's able to disarm enemies, so they feel pretty much useless once you engage on them in any capacity. So I think he's a very strong character. And there's not many things that really nerf him, except if you do things that stop him from healing a role. Or stop him from engaging. But I believe when he ults a target, he can't cleanse it. So that's something to keep in mind. So a very strong character. Now, Paradox, I'm going to put at B rank. Paradox, she's like busted, but then she's also really weak. It comes down to the player and how they use the whole kit together. Because her ultimate is a time swap. Time swap. Yeah, or paradox swap. You swap between the position of the enemy and yourself, vice versa. That's what ends up happening on that aspect. And you can combo into your pulse damage, into your wall, and such. It's very good. But I think the underrating capacity of this character's kit is the time stop that she does get from her third ability, which is a charge attack, which she then hits a target, and they get stopped in time for like maybe 0.5 seconds. It's like a little mini stun. And that might be her best part of her kit, because that can lead to any type of engagement rolling out from that point, because it's an easy pick. And since it's got infinite range, it feels like it's got infinite range, you can kill any target. So very strong. So I'm going to put that at B rank. Now, Lash. Lash, I expect him to be like S or A. I want to put him at A due to the fact that this character has high mobility, good damage output, and I've never seen Lash be bad. You know, when it comes to a good Lash player, I've never seen them go bad. They're always very consistent, and they've got good damage output, and they're just going crazy. Absolutely crazy. He'll run circles around you, and you cannot do anything about it. And his builds work in his favor really well. So I think he deserves that spot. When it comes to this character here, I think she's B as well. I could be wrong about this one, due to the fact that she has good DPS early game, and it can be very strong late game. It just depends how your team's going as well, at same capacity. She can maybe hard carry, but I don't think it's very consistent, at least from now. I'm going to leave her a B rank. And some of these characters I haven't played too much of, and others I have. Wraith, though, she's like S to A, maybe? I'm going to put A. Wraith is very, very fun. But maybe not that high on A. I'm going to put it here. So I still think Infernus does more. Wraith has a lot of damage output. She's able to teleport. She has consistent pressure, I feel like, at all stages of the game. And even when a Wraith is losing lane, somehow the Wraith player, yourself or the enemy player, will end up scaling really well at late game and be able to one-shot targets and move around like it's nothing. So I think very agile, very fun, strong kit. I do enjoy playing this character quite a lot. It's the first character I really gravitated to when I was understanding builds and such. She's the one that clicked the most. So I think for anyone that wants to play the game, play Wraith. Give that a go. It might be your main character to play forever. You never know. Next character. Definitely Warden. That's B. Definitely a B. Definitely A, sorry. Warden has got such great pressure. Like, it's insane how much movement speed he gets. The pulse damage that he gets from his ultimate. And if you get Torment Pulse as well, another item to do more pulse damage, you've got great area effect, great spirit damage. You reduce the move speed of the enemies and lock them down with your curse ability. I love it. I absolutely love it. And being a cop in this game, it just feels great. It feels hilarious when you go around chasing enemies. So I feel like it's a very strong character, very effective. I want to play the character more, that's for sure. It's a character that you play once, you're like, shit, that was actually really fun. I want to play it again. And then it stops the things in the game, which is high mobility. This character stops that and takes that into your favor. So I really like it. It's great lockdown. Then, these characters here, I haven't played too much of. I've only seen them. So, I'm going to tell you, this could be like a C rank, but I think it's an S rank. She's got so much damage. Insane damage. Like, it's absolutely absurd. She has the turret setups that she places. She has the wall that she put up to stop you from exiting or using zip lines or anything. So that wall will cost you some games, that's for sure. Splitting team fights or using it to stop enemies from disengaging in any capacity. She's very strong. So I think she's maybe more effective than 7. And I don't see many weaknesses to the character. The only weakness is that you're playing the character as a new player. That's the only weakness I can see. If you're more experienced in the game, I feel like she favors quite a lot. She's got great control, great damage output, feels effective from what I've seen. And going against her can be really awful in some cases, especially if it's an experienced player or people that have good knowledge application. That's for sure. This character here, I think it's Haze, not mistaken. I think she's B2. Oh, sorry, A. I keep stuffing up the tier list. I think she's A because she's got stealth, but the stealth is kind of like a gimmick. You could see her majority cases, but it's still somewhat effective. But her ultimate is area effect, and the ultimate does shred. It does a lot of damage. So I think that's her best case scenario, and her weapons seem to do good weapon damage with builds. So I think she's A. Now this guy, B. Definitely. Yeah, definitely B. He's a great support, and that's all I really see. I don't think he's a better support than maybe the Enderby. I don't think he's better than Victus. I don't think he's better than him. Yeah, I don't think so. I see him, he's got knockups. They usually run a heal build or support build in any capacity because that kind of works. His mobility is really great, but that's pretty much it for the character skit. Now, this guy, I've heard a lot of good things about him. I haven't seen how strong this character is in majority of my gameplays, that I versed this character in the lane with any of my previous characters I played on the channel. But I'm thinking he's also A. Maybe around here. He could be higher, because I have heard the damage builds on this guy are kind of nutty. And he has everything. He has a teleport, he has a way to be invulnerable. He just has a bit of everything. And he has an area effect damage as well. So very strong character. Now this one, S tier. This female Genji is absurd. Absolute absurd character. Damage output is insane. Combos are insane. I feel like she's always chasing you. She doesn't leave you. She's like just attached to you like a parasite. And that is insane early game. You cannot deal with the pressure from this character, especially if you're a new player and you're versus an experienced person. This thing is insane. That's all I can say. I have to play it myself, but whenever I verse it, I'm like, oh my god, it's so much pressure. Because I was playing Lash against it, and Lash has got high mobility, but this person was keeping up with my mobility and doing damage at the same time. So I think she's a great character and deserving of S rank. At least when it comes to versing the character, it's kind of impossible to win. This guy, maybe top of B? He's the ice guy. So he freezes areas, locks down a circular dome, and then you fight in the dome to the death, and then that's pretty much it. That's why I've seen majority of the time. He's got icy trails to create verticality spots to shoot from. He seems interesting. He's a guy that would disrupt a fight into his favor or into the enemy's favor, depending what happens in the dome and out of the dome in that same instance. So not a bad character. Now, this character, I think suffers the same issues as some of these other rangers, the long-range characters. Very good early game. They can be stronger late game. It just doesn't feel that effective. They're just like floating around doing some hovering shit, and no one really cares about them. Unless they're really snowballed hard, it doesn't really matter. And if they snowballed hard, and they're in the sky hovering, usually other characters like Lash can target this character quite easily, and it's not even an issue. Or you pull them with Bebop, or you do some type of lockdown with any other character in the game, or you just melt them as Dynamo with your fire rate. It doesn't seem too bad, you know? And I think this is a pretty decent tier list for my early days of Deadlock. It will most likely change after more characters are added to the game. The balances happen, the nerfs happen, the buffs happen, all that good stuff that happens in a game like this. But I think that's a pretty decent tier list. Like, I think these are kind of mandatory. They're a lot of fun. They've got a lot of DPS. They do a bit of everything. You got a tank, you got control, you got damage output, you got close range killers that skirmish like crazy. I think that's pretty good. As the S rank. The AT rank, I agree with it. I absolutely agree with it. It's my tier list. But this guy, I wish this guy to be up here. You know, that's what I wish. But we don't know yet. He feels like he's got untapped potential. But also could be absolute dog shit, and he could be just D rank. We don't know. I keep testing it out just for the sake of it to find a good build, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't feel like there's a character that just sucks in the game. I don't think there's any character that just like, oh, look, they're utterly shit. Because the way this game works, you have hybrid builds and hybrid characters, so you can build a character in any capacity, and you can find something very interesting. That's what I like about it. It's not like, oh, there's only one build in this character, and you have to use that one build, and that's all. You can build a totally different way, and say on this character, create a build where it's only focused on Google and doing as much CC control with Google and damage. Or you can start changing it to do more damage with Fist and make it a melee build that does Fist damage as well with his third ability. It's just like things like that you don't get in other games, but here you definitely get it. And it's very clear that they want you to be experimental, test things out, and see how things are stronger in one capacity than another. So some of these characters might shift up, and maybe this guy here becomes S rank, depending on his build, and depending on what items get buffed and added to the game. So I think this is a good tier list for the current time of Deadlock, and those are my pins on it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Tell me your pins or thoughts in the comment section down below, and in the chat. If you do agree with this tier list, I'd love to know. But that's my tier list on Deadlock.